Now, to tap your card or not to tap your card, that's the big question. Scammers are getting more and more sophisticated when it comes to cloning your card or stealing your money when you tap and go. An alarming increase in digital payment fraud has been reported as scammers target unsuspecting victims at service stations and till points. And you don't know what to do because you basically can use tap your card and then someone comes up behind you and something happens. So joining us to discuss this is Head of Cybersecurity at Armata, Richard Frost. Hi, Richard. Good morning. Welcome to 702.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Right. So how are these scammers in cloning cards when it comes to tapping?
So I think the issue that we're having right now is the fact that there's a lot of smart devices that are out there, like your portable payments devices like Yokos and stuff like that. But then there's also the cell phone themselves that have an NFC function that can actually read the credit card and can actually process the payments as well. The guys are starting to utilize these to actually scam people fraudulently.
Gosh, so people, you can be standing with your card at a pay point at a service station and somebody walks up behind you just close to you and then they scan you.
Absolutely. And I think, the card's an always on payment feature, which means that, as long as you can reach the card, you can transact with it.
Yeah. So, okay, there appears to be software that's coming with this now that people are developing or getting on their cell phones. So it's not even a scanning device. It's just getting this new software. Am I right?
Yeah, they're utilizing the NFC functions of devices using software to kind of overwrite some of the security protocols and utilizing those methods to obtain money from unsuspecting victims.
Yeah. Tell me, Richard, how do you get around this? I mean, you can use your smartphone, you can load up your cards onto your e-wallet, but is that the solution?
I think that's probably got a lot more security controls in place. The application that you're utilizing for the digital wallet is only activated at the time of purchase. In other words, it gets turned off when you're not actually trying to perform a transaction. There's more security protocols in place like PIN numbers and, your fingerprint authentication before you can even transact using that method. So it is definitely more secure.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, though, to bear in mind is that, the tap function on the card is a convenient contactless way of paying. That was very good during COVID. It's probably not as relevant anymore. Having said that, though, financial institutions themselves are starting to protect the victims of these crimes by kind of paying them back. If you actually do log a case for the fraudulent transaction, you should get your money back.
Yeah.
But, avoid the headache and maybe just utilize some of the more sophisticated digital payment methods like a e-wallet.
Yeah. How safe are they, though? I mean, if somebody goes and steals your cell phone, you hear these stories. Once your cell phone has been stolen, then they get into your banking app and things like that. How safe are these protections?
I think all of the applications that are on your cell phone should be protected through some form of PIN number or through some form of biometric, authentication method. I think people should also be looking at software that you can utilize from your PC that allow you to remote wipe the phone. In other words, if your phone is stolen, you can either click a find me function on it or you can actually tell the phone to delete everything. But also keep your apps in hidden folders that are also secured. So that's not just sitting on the desktop that's very easy to get hold of. If you put it into a secret folder with some form of encryption again, it adds another layer of security onto that.
Gosh, that's interesting. Wipe my phone. Now, does that work for Apple and also Android?
Absolutely. And I think, if you look at some of the vendors themselves, Samsung and Apple themselves have that function built into the phone automatically. But you can also buy other products like Bitdefender or Kaspersky, and they allow you, the antivirus software actually allows you to remote wipe your device once it's been stolen as well.
Sure. All right. You are the head of cybersecurity at Armata. Talking about laptops and using your PCs and banking, there's a question here actually. It's very interesting. If I'm using a terminal at work and somebody else uses that terminal, is my stuff safe, it says?
Theoretically, you should be using a different profile and all your passwords should be saved there. I think the biggest issue that you find is people do save the passwords to the browser itself for convenience. And if there's a way to authenticate the browser and review the passwords on that browser, they'll be able to see your username and password for your internet banking. So it's probably not the most secure thing to do. probably best not to save your password at all and just remember it.
Yeah. But I mean, Richard, these guys are getting quite advanced. If you can just walk up behind somebody and you can scan a card, something like that, or perhaps you're getting the software onto your cell phone. I mean, this is new tech that's coming out. Am I right? I mean, is this something that's just happening now, or has this been around for quite a while?
You probably find it's happened to a lesser degree. I mean, there's always been that whole case of people walking up and tapping your wallet without you noticing and transacting that way. And this is the reason why people are using RFID protection cards in their wallets to kind of stop that signal. But I think the sophistication and the size of the devices that they're using now is what's more relevant. The fact that you can now do it from your cell phone or from a Yoka device. The devices are very small and portable, and they're not very easy to spot. I mean, the one incident that we actually saw a video doing the rounds of was a gentleman in the petrol station speaking very flamboyantly and waving his phone around. And as a lady reached over to tap her card to pay, he tapped her card with a cell phone as well and took off an additional transaction. So it's just being alert to your environment as well. I feel a lot of people aren't really aware of what's going on in the environment. They're not as alert as they should be. And a lot of the times these things could be avoided by just paying attention to your surroundings.
Yeah, and perhaps also as well change your limits on your card. A lot of people have these tapping limits that are really high. Maybe change them and keep them quite low, because if you do that, that at least will help.
No, 100%. And I think even the fact that people do have pins on the cards, some of these devices bypass those mechanisms. So again, it's depending on the device that's tapping as to what kind of protocol is used to transact. And even if your bank's set up that you have to have a PIN number for an amount over 100 Rand, that tap function that they're bypassing might get partial over your PIN number completely.
Yeah, keep an eye on things. Head of Cybersecurity at Armata, Richard Trost, thank you so much for coming on to breakfast this morning. It really is concerning. So perhaps just use your cell phone. Don't take your actual card when tapping. Use your cell phone. There are protections that have been built into that.
Good morning.